here with Forbes Publisher Rich Karlgaard, who just delivered an excellent keynote for us here at the ASI Power Summit. Now, Rich, you talk a lot about growth for business, and you said as a whole, the economy is just still not growing too quickly, correct?
Yeah, overall, the U.S. economy has averaged 2% annual growth since coming out of the recession. That's better than nothing, but it's not as robust as post-recession economic recoveries have tended to be in the United States, where they've more often averaged 4%.
And now, as a result, you said a lot of Americans still believe we're in a recession, even though, of course, we're not.
Yeah, 70% of Americans do. Obviously, there are pockets of real dynamism and growth in this economy, but unfortunately, it's just not that widespread. Now, the question is, going forward, will it get better? And as business people, we can't afford to wait to see that question answered. We've got to figure out how to make our organizations really robust and resilient, even in a kind of lackluster economy.
So as a company owner, if you want to grow more than the 2% per year, what do you do?
You have to do three things really well. You have to have a great strategy, great and thoughtful strategy. You have to know who your customers are, your competitors are. You have to know the landscape of your marketplace, but you also have to keep an eye on disruption. A lot of the sessions following my talk this morning had to do with customizations and new competitors, possibly Amazon coming into the space. These are the things you have to keep your eye on. You have to execute really well. Customers are going to want products in 24 hours, if not today, pretty soon. Can you create an organization that can deliver on that? Then I'm a real firm believer that companies that last for the long run really have a good corporate culture that gets their customers and their employees excited so that they continually give that extra effort.
And you know, you talked a lot about, and I think this is related to the corporate culture, that companies need to have that soft edge as well. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I call the corporate culture side the soft edge because, you know, unlike execution, where you're talking about speed or cost structure or your supply chain and logistics, all of those things are very, very measurable. We have hard metrics. When you talk about things like trust or organizational learning capacity or guts, these are attributes that are less, they don't lend themselves to hard measurements. That's why I call them the soft edge. But the funny thing is, in an organization, the soft stuff is the hard stuff to do.
Probably because you can't measure some of it.
You can't measure. Therefore, the great temptation is to neglect them. But everybody's going to make a mistake at some time. Everybody's going to face an economic or technological disruption. And what I discovered in the research of my book is that companies that invested in their corporate culture side, that really have those deep roots and things like trust, are able to surmount those events. And organizations that have not invested tend to blow away. Their good people leave, their customers leave, and it's all over.
So focusing on culture really is one of the big keys.
Yeah, culture matters. You know, great companies like Starbucks, Starbucks stalled out and very early in its expansion period until it figured out that it had to have a great culture that was visible to customers coming into the store, and they've been able to do that. So every store around the world, however different the store looks, however different the furniture is, whatever the language the baristas speak, you still have that feeling that this is a company that cares about your well-being.
Great. Well, Rich Karlgaard, great to have you at the ASI Power Summit. Thanks so much.
It's a delight to be here.